It is summer vacation for the Cleveland Browns, and I guess staggered it'll be for the NFL. There are some teams that aren't even doing their mandatory mini camps because they had such great attendance, unlike the Browns, which was heavily debated. But you would think that when the NFL goes on summer break, there's nothing to talk about. Oh, there is plenty to talk about every single day, let alone every single week. When we come to you here on the Inside Edge Network, yes, we are the voice of the land. Brought to you by the great folks at Greeny Sports Cards, greenysportscards.com. More on them to come in just a couple minutes. I'm Kevin Earl. He is Ryan Mosser. Ryan, how's the week been treating you?
Dude, it's been long, but weekend's coming. I'm going to Cincinnati. Gonna do a professional fantasy draft. My first live one, which I'm really excited about for Fantasy Cares for the Scott Fish Bowl. This is like they do 2,000 of the top analysts and fantasy football people in the world, or the United States, really. And I got invited to Cleveland and Cincinnati, so I'm gonna do the Cincinnati live draft, and I'm super excited. I'm gonna make a weekend out of it with the family. So
there you go. There you go. We have a going away party this weekend for one of Jana's cousins. Shout out to her. She had her birthday this week, back on Tuesday. So had a nice little night. I still got to take Link, my son, to because she went to go get me stuff for my birthday, but like he was with her. So then she had like this idea, like, hey, like go find something for Daddy. Well, he was in the toy aisle, so he got toys that he wanted. But I was gonna do the same thing for her. Just I haven't been able to just all over the place. Yeah, I mean just tough. But yeah, one of her cousins is going to moving to Colorado. Never been away from home or anything like that. He's moving to Colorado. I probably get the story wrong, but I think it involves like it's like him and like this group of 5 friends that have always been great gamers and stuff like that. And like one of them got married and they kind of need help. Like him and his wife need help with the mortgage, so they're kind of leasing out some space in this big house.
It sounds like an MTV show in the 90s. So
yeah, but yeah, so he's got a degree though in video game design. I'm not exactly sure what the exact diploma name is, but like there are jobs out there in Colorado, but at least more so on the west end of the United States. Like I think there's more opportunities there. So at least he's a lot closer to all of that stuff as he kind of just getting out of college and everything. So it's birthday party for him / going away. So we're gonna do that and hopefully get some time in her and mother-in-law's new pool that we helped build like a couple weeks ago. So
heck yeah, man.
It's only right to actually be able to play in the pool that we
reap those rewards of the hard work.
Well, it's funny. So it was last year at the end of the summer. There was like somewhere around here, a suburb near Wycliffe. Families like selling their pool, but they had it like all down in all the pieces. So like we had to. I didn't even think about it back then. Like I didn't even think about it in the moment. I just helped them load it up in her dad's truck, and like her mom's pool was kind of coming down a little bit. So she was like, yeah, like come next year, I'm gonna take one down and I'll put up the new one. I didn't know it was gonna be part of the rebuild process or the build process, but hey, is what it is.
Yeah, now you get to enjoy it. So
yeah, that's so Link got home and he was very happy to show me his new swim shirts. So he's definitely if we don't go swimming, I'm gonna have a very upset kid, and that is not a good 2-hour car ride home coming back from Southeast Ohio to Wycliffe. But we are brought to you by the great people, greenysportscards.com. greenysportscards.com. I'm sure they got plenty of, they're probably, getting people requests about World Cup cards, or at least, like Messi and Ronaldo and players like that. Like there's probably a soccer conversation going on. They are part of the card collecting community. They put on great shows all the time. I did a terrible job. I'm sorry, Steve and Jeremy. I always forget to look at your page for your next shows, but greenyshows.com is the exact place you can go for that. And I will look that up here and make sure you guys all know, but you can always go to greenyshows.com, go directly there to get all show information. They're live every Tuesday doing eBay bids and having great conversations with athletes and people that are in the know, and they partner with other card collectors and they go across. It's not even just here in Ohio that they put on shows. Like they're a part of card collecting shows around the United States. So, I know we've had a great time partnering with them, Rye, but I mean, it's easy to partner with people that are really good people, not just great at what they do, but great at just being people. Did I lose your sound?
I'm over here just talking up a storm, praising. Yeah. Everyone at Greenies is super awesome, man. We're really blessed to be partnered with them. Yeah, go check them out at Greenie Cards on X or Twitter, and yeah, definitely check out their website, Greenie Sports Cards.
Yeah, so check out the website, greeniesportscards.com. Of course, they'll give you the link to where the shows are. You know, everybody's always got those extra tabs of everything that they offer and stuff like that. You know, this weekend actually, June 12th and 13th, the Great Northern Card Show coming up this weekend. It'll be at Great Northern Mall, free parking, free admission. So if you're, you know, in the area, you want to go out and see them, it'll be at the mall. So that's kind of the next one that's coming up.
I've been to that one. That's a good one too. So you guys definitely want to check that one out for sure.
Yeah, and then Saturday, June 27th, while the place that I work for will be having a block party, they will be doing the show in Broadview Heights, the Woodside Center. I believe so. Yep, Woodside Event Center at St. Michael's. That is 5025 East Mill Road, Broadview Heights, Ohio. They'll be doing another one of those shows. I know that they have, you know, they have Pokemon shows coming in July, and you know, pop-ups around golf courses. Medina County Fair. It's fair time. It's starting to become fair time, and those I always enjoy going to some county fairs.
Me too.
It's weird. I never did that before I met Jana. Don't know why. Like I was missing out on so much. Like they're just fair food. You know, I just love animals in general. Like so, like seeing the animals and stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing I hate about fairs, though, if you see markings or something like that on some of the animals, or like, you know, like it says like sold to or whoever, like I know what's happening with those animals. I don't like being there on the last day, you know, like when the animals are going where they were sold to, because I know what's happening. I'm not going to say what's happening because this is a family show, but I know what's happening, and it makes me sad.
As I look at my stocked freezer over there.
I mean, like I get it. Like that's, you know, it doesn't stop me, like being sad about that doesn't stop me from eating meat. Others it does, which is, you know, whatever choice you make, I totally understand. I just seeing them though, like
it makes it more tangible. Yeah.
See, like I'm good when I don't know where it came from. You know, like I'm good because I get stuff that I'm pretty sure it's not those animals I'm looking at. I just know that they're ending up the same way that the steak on my plate maybe tonight, you know, ended up that way.
I just harvested a chicken yesterday.
Yeah. I think we're getting Chipotle tonight because they're doing a buy one get one free entree tonight if you go in wearing a soccer jersey. Now I have a feeling this T-shirt's not going to work. Like a T-shirt jersey probably doesn't work. I got soccer jerseys. Don't worry. Like you know, but we just had it on Tuesday for Jana's birthday. She sends me the screenshot of that because we're not even talking about sports at all. But this is way more fun sometimes. She sends me a screenshot today, right, of like the buy one get one. I'm like, do you want that again? Like, because I'm not like the person that, like, you know, just eats like the same thing, like tries not to eat the same thing, you know, too close together or whatever. She's like, you know me, I could eat it every day. I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'll dig out a soccer jersey. I'll go get you some Chipotle tonight. So, you know, saving some money too. You know, two meals, one price. Can't really beat that. As it is the first day of the World Cup, we will get to World Cup at the end. But as we were talking about this, Ryan, you wanted to start with Joel Bitonio, and Joel Bitonio retiring officially. He's known about it, and people in the Browns have known about it. I'm like surprised that this has stayed quiet for how long it has actually been known. He said that, you know, if you guys see what the Browns did in free agency, that kind of should have told you what our conversations were at that point, but that kind of, without him saying anything or any reports that caused the speculation, well, could he play for another team? Does he still want to play? Like, does he still want to play? And then he ends up playing for another team. Those types of things. Nope. He is retiring, and what a 12-year career it was here in the city of Cleveland.
Yeah, man. I mean, truly blessed to have a guy like that on the team. I mean, when you talk about the modern Cleveland Browns, there's only a handful of names that truly define what this franchise has tried at least to be over the last decade. When you think of Joel Bitonio, he's one of those guys who was, a steadying force, tone setter for the offensive line, the guy who never asked for attention really, but earned every ounce of respect throughout the NFL. I think. And now he's not with this team anymore. I think the longest tenured player is it Watson or Ward? Ward probably, yeah. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, it's really dwindling thin on longest tenured players on this team or whatever. But Joe Bitonio is he's the guy who showed up every single week, no matter how many quarterbacks rotated behind him, no matter how chaotic the season got, no matter how many times the Browns, reinvented themselves, he still showed up. He still had a good attitude. He still, tried to lead the best that he could. I mean, and you run through his resume, all the accolades. I mean, to me, it's reading somebody, who should be contention for the Hall of Fame. 7 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pro selections, 3 second-team All-Pro selections, PFWA All-Team Rookie Team, 178 career starts, literally started every single game he ever played, 6,400 plus consecutive snaps at one point. That's not good. That's not solid. That's absolute dominance. That's a decade-long excellence at a position where most guys burn out, in half the time. I don't know. Bitonio wasn't just a technician. He wasn't just a mauler. He was the adult in the room, the guy that we wanted quarterbacks to be. He was the guy who young linemen modeled themselves after. The guy that coaches trusted, and the guy who represented the franchise and the community year after year. Without ever making it about himself. He played next to Joe Thomas and learned that standard, and then carried it after Joe retired for 10 plus years, and for a franchise that has lived through more chaos than any fan base deserves. Bitonio was the one consistent that you could always count on. So he's going to be dearly missed. I really liked enjoyed watching Joel Bitonio play for this team. So
yeah, I mean, and I know that they said for at least the next year they're still going to be, him and his wife and his kids are still going to be living here in Cleveland, so I can see him doing what Joe Thomas does periodically through training camp, kind of showing up, giving the direction, and I'm sure he'll do something similar over the years. Like I'm sure he'll visit for, even if they don't keep their roots right here in Northeast Ohio, maybe go back to California where he's from and stuff like that. Even if they don't do that, like he's going to be back here and doing that. Like that's when a guy like that talks. You better listen. Yeah. Like again, did it at in a very elite level for a team that just again hasn't won a lot and has stayed true to it and still want, like, even through all of that without winning and doing the stuff at the highest level of the sport, wanting to go out in a Browns helmet, Browns uniform, like. That speaks a lot to someone like that. Like it's easy if you're a Kansas City Chief, and I know how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that they've done it like their Super Bowls have been easy to get. What I'm saying is like it's easy to say like, hey, like I'm retiring. I feel good about my career because I got you got rings on your finger and stuff like that. And while there are always trials and tribulations, and everybody goes through struggles as teams. Getting those ultimate rewards and getting that multiple times like that, that probably makes it a little bit easier. It's much more difficult for players like Joel Bitonio and guys that maybe retire from the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Jets or organizations like that aren't winning a lot to retire and say like, I only ever want to play in that uniform, and I don't want to push my body one more year, even if I feel like I can. Like I'm just not feeling it, and now is the time because I was still a Brown last year. I'm going to retire that way. Like that says a lot about that person.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed listening to what he said this week, and some of the well wishes, all the great memories and then the well wishes sent to him. I mean, he does his best play ever is chasing down Devin Hester. When they were facing off against Atlanta and things like that. But yeah, you're not gonna find a lot of highlights on him, but you're like that's a good thing too because you're not gonna find a lot of compilations of referees saying number 75. You get it right, and he did his job the way that you needed to do as a left guard and an offensive lineman and a guy that's in the trenches dealing with the difficulties that you face there day in and day out, and sometimes couldn't even a lot of times, especially the last few years, couldn't really practice during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And most guys, what he was probably suffering and going through, probably wouldn't have played. He still decided to play on Sunday.
Yeah, and that's just a testament to his grit and his determination, and what I would like to think what this city and what this team meant to him. Do you believe that he's a Hall of Famer?
I do. I feel like he is. I know it's going to be difficult, and he even said it like we need more guards and centers in the Hall of Fame. But I feel like I'll say this. Maybe this is a bold prediction. I say he gets in the Hall of Fame before he would get to like that senior laden level. You know what I mean?
Before he can still remember it. You're saying
what?
So he can acknowledge it and remember it. You're saying
no, like
that long?
Like you have what is it like 10 or 15 years you can be on the ballot before then you move to the
big
pool, like
where Clay Matthews is, and
so like I feel like his first opportunity at the Hall, like whatever amount of time you're allowed to be on the ballot, I feel like he gets it within that time frame, whether it's 10 to 15. But yeah, like Clay Matthews, his time on the regular ballot is done, but he wouldn't be on the billboards or if he ever gets in for Clay Matthews, like he's not going to be on the big poster that they put outside the Hall of Fame. Like, here's the class of 2020, whatever, 2030, whatever it might be. There might be like 4 guys up there, but there's still more guys people that are going in the Hall of Fame because of, that. I can't even think what the terminology is for it. But you get what I'm saying, like that next level, there's guys, there's like coaches that have gone to the Hall of Fame and unfortunately posthumously, like when they've passed away, but like there's still an opportunity to go in the Hall of Fame, even if you don't get it within like here's our main class.
Sure.
Plus the legendary or, old, I don't want to call it old timers either. It's going to wreck my brain doing that. I'm not going to look it up right now. I'll find out later. And, I'm going to feel like I know I sound like an idiot right now, but that's totally fine. I make myself sound like an idiot a lot of the times. But congratulations to Joel Bitonio on a great career. And again, that's Charles Barkley always said, and I understood. I understand now as I'm older rather than when I was first told this story, that he said, "I'm not a role model." I understand that more now. When you look at professional athletes, like they understand, some of them realize the life that they live, and that's not what you should be. That's not what a role model should be to kids. And maybe pro athletes shouldn't be. We shouldn't call them role models. We should just be like or even heroes. Like we're a big fan. Like we're the biggest fan of whoever. Not like they're my role model. That type of thing. Joel Bitonio, that's a role model.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's going to be missed. I definitely think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, or should be in the Hall of Fame, rather. I mean, one of the best guards in football for a decade. Accolades match or exceed, I think, several guards that are already in Canton as well, and played at a Hall of Fame level despite being stuck on a bad team. That's his argument against him is obviously only 2 playoff appearances, no Super Bowl, playing on mostly losing teams, but obviously he's not Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is one of one, but you can see the way that he followed in Joe Thomas's footsteps pretty much his whole career. I mean, those consecutive snaps, the amount of starts, staying at Brown his entire career. So I don't know. I think it's possible for sure. I would like to see it. Obviously, I'm biased, but I definitely think he does deserve it. So
yeah, we don't get many opportunities to get Browns in, as of late. So any opportunity that we can is always good. But there is a new crop of Browns finished up their work today. Their first round of off-season work, OTAs and mini camp before they go on their summer vacation. Ryan, we did hear from the quarterbacks. We heard from Deshaun for the first time since October of 2024, I think it was, that he spoke to the media yesterday.
Not long enough.
Oh, I know, not long enough. If you're just catching on to our show for the first time ever, this. I'll just tease this as we talk about Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. Both of us kind of like one of them. There's the other one that we don't want here anymore. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But, of course, we do have great partners of the Inside Edge Network. I don't want to get too far along without mentioning a couple of them. We always have Allie Rose. We have Fanatics. We have W Energy. We have why am I blanking on? Oh, my gosh. He's on my show.
The Monster Moments Photography.
We talk about Green Sports Cards. I know the network has some other partners as well. But, they want to get their message out there. And here's a word from some of our great partners.
Discover our collection of handcrafted candles. That's right, every product is thoughtfully created in small batches free from harmful toxins for mindful everyday indulgence. Our candles are hand-poured in coconut soy wax with natural wood wicks, offering a long-lasting burn and rich fragrances. Create a cozy, safe ambiance for your home with candles from Allie Rose Fragrances. First-time customers use the promo code InsideEdge20 to receive 20% off your order. AllieRoseFragrances.com, proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Podcast Network. Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and, everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to Fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. That's Fanatics.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Back inside the voice of the land, here on the Inside Edge Network, part of the Inside Edge Network family. And, you've been talking a little bit about Joel Bitonio, but of course now the current Browns, this is the era without Myles Garrett. This is the era without Joel Bitonio. There's really only one guy from before 2020, I think, right, that is on this team. Maybe Grant Delpit too. I don't remember exactly when he was drafted, but the main names that we know, like Denzel Ward's kind of the leader of the pack. But we were talking about before, Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders talked yesterday. I don't know how much you heard, Ryan, from what they said. Maybe it's just me because I don't want Deshaun Watson to ever play for this team. And you can come back at me and say, well, you better use him because he's going to, and they have to play him and he's part of I get it. I understand. I never wanted him here. I don't want him to play again. And that starts well off the football field. And again, I understand it's all still alleged. There was never any charges filed, all those types of things. I understand what all of that says. But to have all that come about, something happened somewhere, somehow. And, it's not just one. So call me a victim, the victim of court of public opinion, whatever you might want to look at it. Excuse me, in that regard. This is why I went to get water during our commercial break. But I didn't want this whole thing to be here. And then it's just on the football field. It hasn't gone well. I didn't hear it. He's saying that he's in a better mindset. I just don't hear a guy that is taking some of the responsibility for the poor play.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I don't know. This is my least favorite part of the Brown season. I especially since year after year we just never know who our quarterback is. So for me, I'm just taking everything with a grain of salt. I'm waiting for Todd Monken to announce whoever it is. I mean, obviously, I want Shador to be the guy. But also I want the best person at the position to play the position. This sucks, dude. This sucks. We're basically. I like Shador. I do. I am not a Shador truther, though. I think that Shador did not play very well last year. Was that entirely his fault? Maybe not. Maybe it was coaching. Maybe it was our awful offensive line. Maybe it was our receiving core. Maybe it was all the above. Maybe it was in his head. I have no idea. But that part scares me. The part that I have no idea scares me. My partner on the Commissioner's Couch podcast, which is going live after this, David, is in love with Shador. Shador is the guy. Shador is the future. This and that. I do not see it, and until I do see it, I fear that Watson is going to be the guy because we are dumb and naive if we think that Todd Monken is not going to pick the best player regardless, because his job is on the line. This is the only opportunity that he's going to get to be a head coach in the NFL. And he's not going to let it slip through his fingers because of, the fan base not liking one guy or a crazier side of the fan base loving another guy. It's going to be solely based off of who can command this offense and who's better. And unfortunately, I think both guys suck. So I'm in a rock and a hard place. I hope one of them is good. I really hope Shador is the better one, but I don't think either of these guys are the future. I think that 2027 is set up obviously for us to get a guy at the position, and it would be so nice if one of these guys, hopefully Shador, becomes the leader of the pack, has some success this year, and then we can use our first round picks on Jeremiah Smith and company. But I just don't see that happening. So it's hard for me to get super excited or count the quarterback clock, especially this early when I can see the writing on the walls. Our quarterback is not on this team for next year. They're going to draft a guy in 2027 unless a miracle happens. So sorry.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I've been told that, and you and I both kind of feel this way, but I've been told, like, we're not going to be very good this year. So, like,
I agree.
It shouldn't matter who he picks as the quarterback, right? Like, everybody, we're getting all, like, the reason why we're talking about wanting to know who they pick is because, yes, we want Todd Monken to pick the best guy, because guess what? In his eyes, the best guy is going to do what? Win football games. Well, but you got to be in the top of this draft because these quarterbacks are going to be so, like, this is the class. This is the class. Well, again, I'm over that. I am. I understand that, if you're in a position to get a guy, you got to go get him. Well, right. You were in 2018, and I still like Baker Mayfield, but in reality, like people would say, like, we picked the wrong guy. I mean, but look at that class. Like, who's the guy that's won a Super Bowl in that class back in 2018?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. Who had that on their bingo card? That would be the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Josh Allen hasn't even been to one. So if you want to say that Baker Mayfield's not a franchise quarterback, you want to talk about that. And don't worry, I get that the football looks different with these guys. But the ultimate thing is to get to and win a Super Bowl. Well, Baker Mayfield hasn't done it. Neither has Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Josh Rosen is totally out of the NFL.
He was my QB1 that season. Oh, my gosh.
Sam Darnold is the one.
Man.
But he had to go to – that's his third team that he did that with. So, like, we're always about, I get it, NFL, not for long. We got to get it now. We got to get it now. We got to get it now. Look, like, at this point, I just want to win football games. And Todd Monken has to win football games, guys. Yeah. Like, this guy has worked his entire career and has turned 60, and this is the first chance he's been given to coach, be a head coach in the NFL, get one of those 32 prestigious spots in sports. Like, he's not going to waste that.
Right.
This team is this organization is sending out different messages like, the way that they're operating it and getting picks in 2027. Oh, well, they're really going for that quarterback there. Well, if you're going to go for the quarterback, then you got to be 3-14, 4-13, 5 and whatever, like what we just did last year.
Yep.
And now we got to do 3 years in a row. I get we've done year after year after year. So, like, I should just be used to it. No, I don't want to be.
We just traded away our best player, brother. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but I mean, Myles Garrett attests for at least 2 wins in a season, at least. And he's now out on our team. So
no, I'm not saying how many games we're actually going to win. Todd Monken has to win, which means that the record should be better than it was last year. They're making moves and getting rid of their best player that, at least accounted for 2 wins. Then you would be dropping back to the 2024 season of 3 wins.
Right.
There so that you can be at the top to get one of these quarterbacks. But also wasn't like Dante Moore was part of that conversation for the quarterback class this year. I get that they can get more money, but his performances dropped thoughts on him going into that draft season before he said, I'm going back to college. So nothing is going to be a given. Were we talking about Fernando Mendoza?
No, I mean, that's the thing too. Like Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, like those guys were talked about possibly being a top 5 pick. Nussmeier, they said maybe in the 2025 draft could have been a top 5 pick, but he decided to go back, and obviously that's a double-edged sword. Some guys are going to be lifted, some guys are going to fall. And it's a weird time. Especially, I mean, even the Brendan Sorsby disaster that's going on right now, man. Like what a I want to talk about that.
I know. So
man.
I know that every show and all that type of I'm telling everybody right now, we're not doing this. We're not having this quarterback conversation these next 5 weeks when there's nothing happening on the field. There's just random rumors out there when nothing has happened. We're not like that. Yeah. It's not. I know Todd Monken he's not going to BS us. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. So until I hear it come out of his mouth, I'm not diving into rumors all the time. I probably have to do it for my other job, which I will, and I know how to do that, and I can, and it's all well and good. This show in particular is not doing that.
Right.
So now that they're on summer break, this is the last time we're going to talk about this. Receivers look great. It's a passing camp. Nobody's got pads. Nobody's tackling. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all like there's always a camp darling. There's a mini camp darling. There's a training camp darling.
The worst part of the season, man.
It's the worst part of the season. Do it starting in September. And look, I'm all about it. Except for one person that's playing in that uniform. That's the only thing that's gonna make me, struggle with the season. And that's number 4. But the guy that's worn 2, I think his number is. This whole Brendan Sorsby thing, man, I'm gonna let you go on this because I know like you're probably more passionate about it than I am.
Already.
But the fact that he is eligible to play college football is just the most ridiculous and utterly stupid thing. And I know it's not the NCAA here, but so shockingly, we're talking about college football, and the NCAA is the governing body. And they're not the ones that did something stupid. I don't know if their hands are tied or whatever, but the fact that he can play, like, everybody's going to be questioned. Like, did he relapse? Like, is he gambling again? First mistake, bad interception he throws. Like, that's just not something you want at your university. As much as college sports is becoming professional sports, right? Especially college football. And the way it's being operated, and really these guys aren't going to school at all. It's the Cardale Jones. I'm not coming here to play school.
Right.
That's becoming less and less important. The student part of student athletics is becoming less and less important. But still, you are an institution of education, of higher education, and you're going to have that. You're going to have that guy representing you. Not for me. I'm gonna let you go on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to assume that most people know about this, but for those who don't, Brendan Sorsby, he was a quarterback for Indiana. Last year played for Cincinnati. This year transferred to Texas Tech. Admitted to placing over 10,000 bets, made close to $100,000, about that, maybe $90,000 to $100,000, and you use multiple accounts. Bet on his own team, even bet against his own team. He's allowed to play football this season after a judge tossed out the NCAA's permanent ban and replaced it with just a 2-game suspension. 2 games for betting against his own team in college football in 2026. Absolute insanity, Kevin. It's insane. Let me be clear. I have been saying it for years. I think legalizing gambling has wrecked the integrity of sports down to its core. The leagues took the money. They plastered sports books on every broadcast. They opened the door, and now they're shocked. Yeah, they're shocked, that the athletes are betting. Give me a break. Even with all that, I think this ruling is obviously a joke. We all do. The reality is players have been banned for life for placing one small bet. Players, have lost all eligibility for just fantasy contests. Players have been dragged publicly for far less than what Brendan Sorsby has done. Entire careers have been destroyed over a fraction of what Sorsby did. Meanwhile, he places thousands of bets, including bets on Indiana football, while he was on the roster. And the punishment is sit out against Abilene Christian and Oregon State. That's not discipline. That's a cheat code, man. Players who got hammered for far less. Iowa State, Iowa in 2023, there was that mass suspension era. Dozens of athletes across both schools were hit with suspensions, ranging from multiple games to permanent ineligibility. And most of them were just guilty of 1 or 2 small bets or playing fantasy football. Wagers on sports they didn't even play, or bets totaling less than $100. Mind you, Sorsby is close to $100,000, 10,000 bets. Some of the kids were done with college sports forever. Careers over. No appeals court swooping in. No sympathetic judges. No second chances. Noah Shannon, Iowa's defensive tackle, placed 1 bet and he got him permanently ineligible. Hunter Deckers, a promising quarterback for Iowa State, also. His career was ruined. Not to mention we could, for Buckeyes fans, we could talk about the Terrell Pryor incident where, Pryor and his teammates in 2010, trade just autographed memorabilia just for tattoos. And the punishment was they were suspended, dragged through the national media. Jim Trussell was forced out, wins vacated, legacy stained, and Pryor wasn't even allowed to attend the 2014 national championship celebration for tattoos. You think of Reggie Bush, another example. He didn't gamble, but he didn't throw games or anything like that, but he did accept benefits, money, housing, allegedly money, housing, gifts, from agents. And the NCAA, hit him with massive sanctions, wins vacated, forced to give him back his Heisman. When I think of Texas Tech, also with this, what I think this is insane. I don't know if you heard this, Kevin. I found out that all 4 judges on the appeals court that overturned Sorsby's ban are Texas Tech graduates. All 4 of them. According to Brandon Marcello from CBS Sports. You can't even pretend that this is neutral. This is the kind of thing that destroys, trust in a system. This is how you lose credibility in college football, and how you tell, every athlete in America that if you're at the right school, the rules don't apply to you. Sorry, I'm going on here, buddy, but not to mention, there's the locker room fallout as well. Forget the NCAA, but the players in general. If I'm a receiver on his team, a lineman protecting him, coach to build trust. How do you look at that guy the same way? How he overthrows you, like you said? Is it a bad throw or a bad bet? He takes a sack. Is it a pressure or a parlay, bro? Like, who knows? You can't play football with that doubt in the room, and you can't build a team around someone who could possibly bet against you, regardless of an addiction or rehab, whatever rehabilitation he's in. If I'm in that locker room and I'm playing that team who may have a future in the NFL, I'm not going to let that slide. That's a fisticuff situation, if you will. That you don't get to lead us anymore kind of territory, man. And that's a weird situation that I just don't want to in my team personally. And the biggest picture of all, finally, I think that this could break college sports. if the ruling stands, the NCAA has officially lost control of its own rule book, because now the precedent is, betting is fine. Betting on your own team is fine. Betting against your own team is fine. As long as as long as you get, the right judge, you just overturn anything. This is a very slippery slope. Not even this is a cliff. And college sports are standing right at the edge of that cliff right now. This ruling doesn't just bend the rules. I think it absolutely shatters them. The message is set. If you get caught, don't worry. Your lawyer can, get you out of it, no problem. Meanwhile, dozens of other athletes across the country have been banned permanently for far less. Guys from Iowa, Iowa State, Fresno State, San Jose State, all the basketball stuff that happened just a few years ago. Players have been kicked out of college sports forever for bets that didn't even involve their own teams, and this guy gets a 2-game vacation. It is absolutely insane. It pisses me off. Excuse me, I know this is a family show. I just, it's funny because
that's
before this,
appropriate, actually, that's FCC approved. So
before this ruling, I was actually fine with the Browns possibly taking a second round, third round chance on this guy who could be a possible, future quarterback if he's vetted right. But now I don't want to touch him at all. Like I think he's a snake. I don't give a crap. I was listening to the fan Ken Carman show with Anthony Lyman, and they were talking about, if the Browns are projecting where they are, they might fall in that 5 to 7 range, and if he's not the top quarterback, but he's right there, they could end up taking him. I don't want to touch this guy anymore. I'm done. Yeah. I think this is a permanent stain, and I don't think that he can be in a. I mean, this is the longest yard, man. I mean, he's Paul Crewe, so I don't know.
So before we hit our final break, let me say this to kind of, I don't want to put a bow on it, or if you want to keep going.
That was a lot. I'm good. You're good.
I will at least give him credit that he admitted to it. He reported it and took himself into, I know
that's all clear, bro. Age stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, but he checked himself into a facility and things like that.
I love that.
Yeah. I think that asking for help.
Sure.
I think that's something that people, the stigma behind mental health, and I still have people around me that say that the mental health thing it's not real. It's no, it's okay to show weakness. I think it's okay to ask for help. I want people to understand that. I am someone that goes to therapy on a pretty regular basis because I realized at one point I needed help. I wasn't okay. And sometimes I'm, not okay, but that's okay because I have people around me that are going to help with that. So I think that I want to make sure that is out there, that, heavily support mental health and anything that's kind of could be causing issues there, seeking help for that. I want to make sure that is known. Now, in saying that, this whole thing just reeks, man. To have a courtroom in Lubbock, Texas, where Texas Tech is. I know that some of the Big 12 teams don't want to be a part of playing against them and things like that. You talked about how a receiver's wondering, if it's bad pass or bad bet. I think that is an interesting way to put it because, you have to. All those questions are going to be there now. These student athletes are going to have to answer questions about that all year long. And, Calvin Ridley missed a whole NFL season because of betting. There are strict rules and regulations there. I'm with Todd Monken and with you, Rye. I didn't want to touch it. If you went into a supplemental draft, don't want to touch it. I get it. Everybody deserves a second chance and all those types of things. My biggest issue is, just because someone might be good at sports, too many things get swept under the rug. I get it. We all want to win. We want our teams to win, and you can debate me on that all you want. I get it. You can tell me, as someone that doesn't want to see Deshaun Watson play and is seeing him going out there for game one, questioning, having to battle my fandom in that moment. And not wanting that guy to do anything for my team, but still caring about everybody else on the team and wanting to see them succeed. He hasn't been good, which is one thing, but if he is, it finds a way to be good, then again, all of this stuff gets swept on the rug, and then we don't talk about, like why, why women don't come forward and report what could be sexual assault or things like that. Like, why don't, because either people don't believe him, or like those types of people, especially in higher positions, get swept on the rug. With Deshaun, it's all alleged. With Brendan Sorsby, with this betting, he admitted to it. So it's not, I can't say alleged there.
Right.
And people have, as you talked about, right, other people have suffered because they're not in a prime position and at a Power 4 school, they have suffered the consequences that you would expect when those types of things, at least in the line of work that you're doing or whatever, in the profession that you're trying to pursue, those types of things are illegal. Well, guess what? He goes out there and plays well in the college football season. Texas Tech makes the college football playoff. They win a game or two, things like that. Now he's being talked about as one of the top quarterbacks coming out because he's so good. Now we're sweeping everything else under. When in reality, all of us should be questioning, like, when a bad moment happens, and this is, whether it's fair or not, I just got to be honest. Like, those questions are going to be there, and Cleveland has dipped their toe too much in those types of muddy waters in the past, and it's not something I want. And now the NCAA is, I think Bo Bishop said he does Cleveland Browns daily, but he also covers Ohio State and college athletics for the Columbus radio station 97.1. I think they're also the Fan as well.
Yeah.
down there in Columbus. And I've heard him say it a couple of times since the Sorsby thing, since that ruling came out, and it's like, do whatever you want. Your high profile, you're good at football. No rules, man. It's Fight Club. There's only one rule. You don't talk about Fight Club. Well, there's only one rule in college athletics, or especially if you're good at college football. Be good, and nothing can touch you. You're like Mario and you got the star, and you're just running, and no Venus flytrap or banana or turtle shell or anything like that can ever get you. You don't suffer any consequences. That's just, I don't know. I'm sure that there's much more to that story that's still to come. Before we, of course, get to our final things here, got to mention a couple more of our great partners here at the Inside Edge.
Clean energy, bold flavors, and no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Whether you're starting your workday or getting ready to exercise, Dubby Energy helps you lock in and focus. With over 15 flavors to choose from, you can't miss. Order Dubby Energy right now by using the QR code on your screen and use the promo code InsideEdge10 to receive 10% off your order. Dubby Energy, your energy-focused sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Inside Edge Network's very own Ryan Mosser and his wife, Hallie. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com by using the QR code on your screen right now. MosserMomentsPhotography.com, a proud sponsor of the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland's digital leader.
Just a couple minutes left here on the Voice on the Inside Edge Network. We've kind of had to adjust our times a little bit. We're working through trying to make sure we have like the best platform to get all of our great shows out to everybody. So, adjusted some of the times of some of the shows, but, not going to take it the full hour, but just a couple more minutes. I feel like next week, we should have a bigger conversation on the guards, because I feel like that deserves more time, Rye. But what I will say is, runners in scoring position, we talk about that, all the time. That's difficult. But look, the New York sweep is the first time that the Guards have been swept since August of last year. That was 31 straight series that they played in professional baseball that they weren't swept. They may not have won the series, but they weren't swept. Like that says a lot about who this team is and who they can still be this season. I think where you really want to move is out there in the bullpen. There's some injuries out there though too, so like we got a little bit of time to figure things out. But I think this weekend, Ryan, I think everybody should be paying attention this weekend against the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Tarek Skubal is coming back on Saturday to start against the Guards. I get that Detroit's not having a great year, but the battles are, against a team that's not having a great year. I think you start to see like, can we actually turn the corner or not? Like if we're not having success against them, then I think more serious concerning conversations about losing kind of come up. Yeah, they came back from 15.5 last year. You can't put yourself in that position
Right.
again. There's a reason why it was historic last season, and we will break that down a little bit more next week. But did want to close a little bit of fun. The World Cup is happening, and I know that I'll try to continue to educate people on the sport that I love the most. I've always loved since I was 5 years old. Taylor Swift showed the cast of Toy Story, the VHS tape of the first Toy Story. Kind of made Joan Cusack, I think is how you say it, who plays Jessie in Toy Story. I don't know if you saw the pictures. They're probably going to become a meme, but like her reaction, because she wasn't in Toy Story. She was in Toy Story 2, but Taylor Swift VHS tape of only Toy Story for a lot of them to sign. Well, I was given a VHS tape of David Beckham, and that's like when I was 5, and that's just where I don't know, like something drew me into the sport. But Mexico got everything started. They win 2-0 over South Africa. There were 3 red cards shown in that match earlier today. Started at 3:00. That means overly physical play. Like you talk about flagrant 1, flagrant 2 of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, red cards like flagrant 2. Like you gone. So don't usually see that many red cards in a game, right? But it goes, it kind of goes in my favor of, people tell me it's not a very physical sport. Well, Exhibit A, Game 1 of the World Cup. But it's, I don't know. I think the way I should say this is, what I want everybody to watch as you're tuning in here and there. We can talk about USA and their chances here in a second, but just watch the stands, watch the camera shots when they go back to like people in Spain or France or Uruguay or Uzbekistan, like all these different countries, wherever they're having a watch party at, and like all of these citizens of that country have gathered to watch, and like if they score a goal, just watch like the passion, the emotion, the pageantry of it all, because I'm telling you, Ryan, like that's one of the great things about this tournament and about the sport of soccer in general, because fans are that passionate about every team, whether it's a club team or their country's team. I just, like, it's kind of like the World Baseball Classic. Like, drinks are flying, beer is flying everywhere. Like, you got like flares being lit and things, like, I mean, it's crazy, but it's true what fan being short fanatic means. Like, it is the absolute depiction of all that. How much do you expect to try to tune in, throughout the next month and a couple weeks?
Real quick, I don't watch a ton of soccer, but I did watch. I don't know if this was live. I don't know if this is part of the World Cup, but women's USA versus Brazil, just like 2 nights ago. Was that?
So that was those were friendlies, but so
Okay.
their World Cup, the Women's World Cup, is next year, or it should be next. It's usually the year after the men's.
Okay, I didn't know if they were
Like
the
every
same time or
4 years.
not. Got it.
But those are 2 of the top countries in the world, and it's great. Like, we always say, like, oh, like U.S. soccer is not good. I need people to stop saying that.
Sure.
On the men's side, soccer isn't, we can't expect us to win a World Cup because they haven't shown that they can do that. Only on the men's side. The women's are the pinnacle of international soccer.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just mentioning, so it was in Brazil, and you mentioned, the fan bases. Dude, that stadium was buzzing. It was insane. At the end of the game, the Brazilian coach got kicked out, got red carded too. It was pretty, I don't know, games like that like I was just like mesmerized by all of these fans and how just like passionate they were for this team. Like, we're Browns fans. We're very passionate. Like, I'm not going to necessarily compare, but oh my goodness, like, what a spectacle. Well, so I'm going to tune in when I can. I have 2 toddlers and a baby and a partridge in a pear tree, but nonetheless, like, when I can, I'll tune in. I'm going to try to, really watch USA at least, or at least, focus on them more. But, yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a huge fan of soccer. I'm not. I'm definitely fair weather, but when in Rome, why not? So.
Yeah, and like I hope that, especially with it being here in North America, and especially some of the action, of course, the U.S. will play on U.S. soil the entire time.
Sure.
So
are there? I heard like Iran is playing in Tijuana. Obviously, that might be more because of the war, but are there other international games not hosted in the United States?
So it's a joint World Cup. So okay. Canada, Mexico, and the United States.
I see.
Are hosting as one
North
big
America.
collective. Yes.
Okay.
So like it's a North American World Cup. It's not one country over the other, but like the main places that you're going to be are Canada, Mexico, and in the United States. It's funny because like, tomorrow night you're not going to hear SoFi Stadium mentioned because SoFi is not a partner of FIFA. So like they have to call it the Los Angeles Stadium.
Oh,
yeah, so I have a feeling you're going to hear someone slip up because it's just so natural to say SoFi and all of that. But it's I don't know. I love it. I love the energy, the passion again behind it. Those 2 games between the U.S. and Brazil on the women's side. Again, there wasn't anything on the line, and that's the type of passion that you're getting.
Yeah, exactly.
Fans from the players, like. How much, like the intensity, the people up in their grills. I love Trinity Rodman. Like she, she's Dennis Rodman's kid, but like she's made her own name. Because I don't think she connects with her dad too much. Like I think it's more mom, but like she'll, you take out her teammate, she'll do what the Cavs didn't do. Like she's going to, within as much of the rules as possible, maybe just going over the line just slightly, she's going to handle it and have her teammates back. So those were just friendlies. Like this is the World Cup. Like that's the type of, you're going to get that and then some here and even next year with the women's one. So just take it in, take it for what it's worth. I know there's going to be games that they might be 0-0 or like very low scoring. I get it. There's going to be guys flopping all over the place. I get it. As a soccer fan, I don't like some of that stuff either. Like soccer fans don't want to see guys like barely get touched and then they're acting like they've broken 3 different bones in their body. Like that's not what you want to see. There's going to be a lot more good than there is bad in this tournament. And message to the United States, though. The U.S. men's national team. Whatever. I know you lost to Germany 2-1 in your last tune-up game. But the team that was out there and possessing the ball more than the Germans, and that's a top power in the world in Germany, and, the whatever level of focus or energy or passion that you had in that game or heart that you brought to that, I want to see that against Paraguay. I want to see that against Australia. I want to see that against Turkey. Because guess what? That's going to lead you to winning more games, more matches, even against some of the top competition than it is going to lose it. That's the mentality that this team needs to take. Not this entitled, we're the golden age, we're the golden era, all those types of things. Everything's been handed to us. We've always been told we're so good. We can just roll the ball out there. No, you have to go prove it. As Lincoln comes in from Storytime. Was Storytime good? And you got a popsicle?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good way to to close
Real
out.
quick, right after this, I'm going live on the Commissioner's Couch Fantasy Football Podcast. We're going to talk about new coaches and what players will benefit from that. Right after this, I'm just going to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to be live right after that. So check us out. Sorry.
So check him out there. I am going to go get Chipotle for my wife and I. And I go dig out one of those soccer jerseys. But for Ryan Mosser, for all the great people at Inside Edge Network, for Greeny Sports Cards, Fanatics, Alley Rose Fragrances, Mosser Moments Photography, and W Energy, plus everything else involved with Inside Edge Network, Peter Tulip, Double A Anthony Alford, Eli Moon, all of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kevin. I'm reminding all of you sports fans, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love you all 3,000. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Ban Brendan Sorsby. This is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. Live life, all gas, no breaks. We'll see you next time on The Voice of the Land.
Bye, Link.